Jordan, thanks for being here. Welcome back. Just take a moment. Settle into your chair, take a breath. Before we dive into the agenda, I want you to just check in. Tell me, what was the journey like from your last meeting to clicking join on this call?
God, Grace, the journey was a blur, a frantic sprint. I clicked end on a project sync that cratered, slammed my laptop shut, got a glass of water, and clicked join on this. I feel like my brain is still buffering. My heart is still pounding in my chest.
Thank you for that honesty. It sounds like you're carrying a lot of static from that last meeting. You can bring all of that in here. This is the space for it. So let's start there. What was running through your mind in those few seconds between the calls?
Frustration. Just raw frustration. Honestly, it feels like I'm the only one pushing the cart uphill. I have a team of smart, genuinely talented people, but I feel like I have to do all the big picture thinking. I spend weeks crafting a strategic plan, lay it all out for them, ask them to challenge it, to make it better, and I get nothing. Crickets. It's like they're just waiting for me to give them the answers, to tell them what to do. The meeting I just came from was exactly that. I presented the Q4 comm strategy and nothing. Just a sea of blank, nodding faces on Zoom. It's maddening, and it's completely exhausting.
That sounds incredibly isolating. To be in a room full of people you know are capable, and yet to feel like you're the only one pulling the weight, the only one with a point of view. That must be draining. I can hear it in your voice right now, that feeling of being utterly spent by the sheer effort of it all.
Spent is the perfect word. I feel like I go into these meetings with my battery at 100%, ready for this incredible collaborative session, and I leave with it at 10%, because I've spent the entire hour trying to draw water from a stone, trying to fill the silence, trying to perform the energy and enthusiasm for the entire group. I end up answering my own questions, and then I feel guilty, like I'm a micromanager who isn't creating space. But what else am I supposed to do when the space I create is met with a void?
Jordan, I'm going to set aside the feeling for a moment, if I may. Grace is right, the energy cost is clear. But I want to zoom in on the process. Can you walk me through the mechanics of that last meeting? Be as specific and procedural as you can. After you presented and asked for input, what was the very next thing that happened?
The very next thing? Silence. Like I said, just dead air. I had the final slide up, the one that says discussion and questions. I asked, okay, what are the initial thoughts? Where are the holes? What roadblocks am I not seeing? And then, nothing. For what felt like an eternity, probably 10 seconds of awful, awkward silence. Everyone just looking at me.
Okay, 10 seconds of silence. And after those 10 seconds, what did you do or say next? What broke that silence?
I did. I broke it. Someone had to. I couldn't just sit there forever. I think I said something like, okay, hearing nothing, seems like we're aligned on the high-level approach, which is great. We can get a jump on execution. And then I immediately pivoted. I said, so, Leo, can you take the lead on action item 1? I need a draft of the partner outreach email by end of day Friday. I had to create motion. We can't afford to lose momentum.
Thank you. That's a very clear data point.
It is. And Jordan, I want to reflect back what I'm observing. You report a problem of team disengagement, but what I'm hearing is a story of your own high anxiety around silence. 10 seconds felt like an eternity, so you jumped in to fill it. You moved from a broad, strategic question to a narrow, tactical command. You're trying to solve your discomfort by creating forward motion. What you've described isn't a passive team. It's a system that's been perfectly designed to produce the exact silence you're so afraid of. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like you, with the best intentions, are the primary architect.
Wow. Okay. To hear you say, I'm the architect, that's a hard pill to swallow, Grace. I feel like I'm trying to do the exact opposite. I'm desperately trying to dismantle that system.
I know you are. And let's be very clear, Jordan. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. You're working so hard, but you're working against a powerful internal narrative. The dominant story here, the one your body is telling, is, I'm the only one with the vision, and I have to drag everyone along. And I want you to hear this. That is an incredibly expensive story for your system to run. Think of it like your phone. It's as if you have one app open, that Solve Everything Myself app, and it's constantly running, draining 90% of your battery. It's no wonder you leave those meetings at 10%. The exhaustion is a direct consequence of running that story.
But I hate that story. I don't want to be the only one. I want their input. Look, my door is always open. I tell them that constantly. In our one-on-ones, I practically beg them for feedback. I'll say, please tell me what you really think. Poke holes in this. And I get great, thoughtful feedback in those private sessions. But then we get into the group meeting, the one that really matters, and all that critical thinking just evaporates. All I get are nods. It's maddening. If they have these better ideas, why won't they just say them when it counts? I'm starting to wonder, maybe they just don't have any. Maybe the ideas aren't strong enough to hold up in a group setting.
Let me offer a different diagnosis, Jordan. What you're describing is a classic, predictable organizational pattern. This isn't a failure of your team's courage, and it's almost certainly not a failure of their intellect. It's a structural mismanagement of agreement. You're very likely trapped in what organizational psychologists call the Abilene paradox. It's a phenomenon where a group collectively decides on a course of action that is counter to the private preferences of many, or even all, of the individuals in the group. Everyone is silently disagreeing while publicly consenting because the perceived interpersonal risk of speaking up feels too high. You see a sea of nodding faces and you code it as alignment, but it's more likely synchronized fear. Your open-door policy, while well-intentioned, is passive. It places the entire burden of risk on your team. The system itself needs a proactive redesign.
The Abilene paradox. Wow. So you're saying it's possible that not a single person in that meeting, including me, thought the Q4 strategy was the right one, and we're all just going along with it? That's terrifying. It means my assessment that we're aligned is completely wrong. It's an illusion.
It's an illusion created to keep everyone feeling safe. And your brain, and every brain on your team, is constantly trying to navigate that system Alec just described. Let me offer a metaphor. Think of your brain as an incredibly sensitive, overcautious GPS. Its number one job is to keep you safe by predicting what's about to happen. If you or someone on your team once had a work accident, maybe a past boss punished dissent, or a team where new ideas were publicly shot down, the GPS logged that. It learned that on this type of road, disagreement leads to a crash. So now, every time a debate is even possible, your GPS and all of their GPS systems start blaring, "Danger ahead, high risk of collision, proceed with extreme caution." The silence you're hearing isn't apathy. It's the sound of 8 different GPS systems all screaming the same safety warning based on old but potent traffic data.
A work accident. My God. My old boss, David, he was the king of that. He saw any debate as a sign of dysfunction. He praised me for running a tight ship, which really meant getting everyone to agree with him as fast as possible. I learned to manufacture alignment to earn his approval. I never realized I'm probably creating that exact same dynamic for my own team. Their GPS systems are screaming because my GPS is telling me to avoid an accident with my boss.
Exactly. You named it perfectly. And what a relief that is. Because now the problem isn't some mysterious personal failing in you or your team. It's a predictable biological response to a perceived threat. So, what if for the rest of our time, we set aside the question, why won't my team speak up? It's not a very useful question. and instead, we focus on a more powerful, more controllable one. Let's explore. How can we give everyone's internal GPS some new data that proves this road right now is actually safe?
That is the correct operational question. You can't tell the GPS to stop being cautious. You have to prove it's wrong by giving it new information.
Okay, yes, that feels so much more manageable. It's not about me being a fraud or them being passive. It's about updating the data, giving the GPS a new traffic report. I can do that. That feels like a problem I can actually solve. Where do we start?
The most direct way to update that GPS data is to re-engineer the mechanics of the meeting itself. We need a process that makes safety explicit. A proven framework is the nominal group technique, or NGT.
Okay, how does it work?
You pose a specific problem. Then, instead of a verbal free-for-all, you mandate 5 minutes of silent, independent brainstorming. Every person, including you, writes down their own ideas on sticky notes or a private doc. No discussion, just pure, parallel thought. This simple act neutralizes power dynamics. It gives the loudest person and the quietest person the exact same share of voice. It gives every GPS a safe, private road to offer a new route before they even see the traffic. After the silent period, you go around the room in a round robin, sharing one idea at a time until all are on the board, without critique. Only then do you begin the discussion.
Right, the nominal group technique, NGT. I've read about it. It's an interesting theory. I've seen it in HBR articles alongside other structured ideation processes. But I have to be honest, Alec, my primary concern is implementation in a real-world, high-velocity environment like ours. It sounds rigid. In a truly agile environment, don't we risk stifling the organic, spontaneous creativity that comes from a more free-flowing discussion? We're rewarded for moving quickly, for finding alignment and executing. 5 minutes of mandated silence feels like the opposite. It feels like deliberately injecting friction into a process my leadership values for its efficiency.
Jordan, can we just pause here for a moment? I'm noticing something fascinating happening. A really smart, incredibly articulate, analytical part of you just came forward. The part that can see this whole situation from a 30,000-foot view, analyze all potential downstream risks, and critique the methodology based on its fit with corporate culture. It's a powerful and sophisticated protector, that part of you. It's working overtime right now, building a fortress of logic to keep you from having one of those work accidents we just talked about. It's doing a brilliant job. I'm just curious, what is the specific feeling that protector is trying so hard to shield you from right now?
Fear. It's just fear. It's not about organic creativity or corporate values. That's all just armor. Underneath it, I'm just afraid. I can so clearly picture David's face. I can hear him asking me in our next one-on-one, "So I heard your team just sat in silence for 5 minutes writing on sticky notes. What's going on, Jordan? Are we losing momentum?" He sees our quick, unanimous agreement as a sign of a high-performing team. He literally praises me for it. He calls it running a tight ship. Implementing this feels like walking into his office and announcing, "That ship you love? It's broken, and I'm the one who broke it." The silence isn't my team being passive. It's my team performing the role I taught them to play to keep my boss happy. And changing the play feels terrifying.
Thank you for naming that, Jordan. That is a completely valid and, frankly, very accurate risk assessment of the political landscape you're operating in. David's perception is a critical variable, so let's adjust the experiment to account for that. Forget implementing NGT as a new formal process. Let's not propose a policy change. Let's not even call it the nominal group technique. We are going to design a tiny, safe-to-fail behavioral experiment. The goal is not to change the culture in one meeting. It's to gather one single private piece of data for you. In your next team-only meeting, one David isn't in, for one specific low-stakes agenda item, You try a single round of silent idea generation. 5 minutes. You frame it not as a new methodology, but as a quick tactic. You can say, "All right, team, for this next topic, I want to try something to make sure we get all our raw thinking out before we anchor to one path. Let's just take 3 to 5 minutes. Everyone jot down your own uncensored ideas, then we'll share." See what happens. We're not telling David. We're not changing the culture. We are running a small, contained diagnostic to gather one data point. What happens? Do you get silence, or do you get sticky notes full of ideas? That's it. It's a scientific inquiry, not a political rebellion. It puts control right back in your hands.
A behavioral experiment, not a policy change, just a small data gathering exercise. Okay, so I don't have to announce we're doing NGT now. I just do it once.
Exactly. The success condition isn't a brilliant idea. Success is completing the 5 minutes and having more data at the end than you did at the beginning. It's about lowering the risk to a negligible level.
And it gives your GPS and theirs a tiny piece of new information in a very controlled environment. Not a whole new map, just a single updated traffic report for one intersection. A beautiful, manageable first step. Thank you for sharing that. This fear you mentioned, the one that worries about David's reaction, it sounds like a powerful and dedicated protector. It showed up right after Alec made a very practical, low-risk suggestion. It's almost like its job is to guard you against this exact kind of change. If we could see it as a character, what's its mission? When that protector shows up, what's the first thing it screams at you? What's its core warning?
It doesn't even use words at first. It's just this full-body takeover, a wave of pure adrenaline. But if I had to give it a voice, it would just be screaming, "Abort! Abort! This is a career-limiting move!" I get so anxious. My mind immediately starts spinning out this whole disaster movie. I'm picturing my performance review with David at the end of the quarter, and he's pulling up a dashboard with our team's key metrics. I can see a chart showing our project velocity has dipped. I can literally hear him asking, in that disappointed but trying to be a coach voice, "Jordan, what happened here? You used to run such a tight ship." And in that moment, in my imagination, I feel like a total imposter. A fraud who tried some stupid management book trick and is about to be found out. It feels like my failure and mine alone.
I want to pause you right there, Jordan, because the language you're using is so important. Did you hear how you just described that? I get anxious. I feel like an imposter, my failure. You're describing a state where you and this feeling of fear are completely fused. There's no space between Jordan and the anxiety. So let's try a small but powerful experiment right now. Let's try to talk about it like it's a separate entity, a thing that visits you but isn't fundamentally you. So instead of, "I am anxious," can we try saying, "The anxiety shows up," or "The imposter story starts playing"? Now let's go back. When that anxiety arrives, forget the story it's telling you for a second. Let's get forensically specific about its physical nature. I want you to become a detective of the sensation itself. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it hot or cold? Is it a buzzing in your chest, a hollowness in your stomach, a coolness in your hands, a tightness in your throat? Let's map its physical signature.
A detective of the sensation. Okay, when I think about it, it's definitely a knot. A hard knot, right in my stomach, just under my ribs. It's not hot or cold, it's just dense, heavy, and my breathing gets really shallow, like I can't get a full breath. And yes, my throat gets tight. It feels constricted, like words are physically trapped.
And that physical sensation, that knot you're describing with such precision, is not a symptom of a personal flaw. It is a completely logical, high-fidelity data signal. It is a perfectly calibrated alarm that your physiological system is ringing because it has correctly identified a genuine political risk in your operating environment. Your boss's well-documented, rewarded bias for rapid consensus. Our objective is not to teach you how to disable that alarm. That alarm is intelligent. It's using years of past data to protect you from a very real threat to your career. Our objective with this small, contained experiment is to gather a new piece of data. We want to prove to the alarm system that, while the general environment might be risky, this specific, controlled situation is safe. We're giving it a software update so it can be more precise in its threat assessment.
Exactly. Alec is spot on. The alarm isn't the enemy. It's just a very sensitive instrument that needs recalibrating with new information. It's like a smoke detector that goes off every time you toast bread. It's working perfectly, just a little too sensitive for the context. So, let's put it all together. Thinking of this fear as an external visitor with a physical signature and the experiment as a simple data gathering exercise, how does the plan feel now? What would you tell yourself before the meeting?
Okay, so before the next team meeting, I know that the fear of David's reaction is going to show up. It's predictable. It will be right on time. And when it does, I know I will feel that familiar knot in my stomach, that tightness in my throat. But instead of letting that feeling become me and letting it take over, I will try to see it as just the old GPS giving a warning, an outdated traffic report. It's an alarm going off. And my job is not to panic and let the alarm be the decision maker. My job is to notice it, thank it for the warning, and then calmly proceed with the plan. The 5-minute experiment, that's how I get new data. It's the only way to recalibrate the alarm. It's not about me being brave or fearless. It's about me being a scientist. I'm just collecting one data point to see if the road is safer than my old map says. Okay, but then what? Practically speaking, what happens after the 5 minutes? The experiment is over. I have a pile of sticky notes. What if Leo writes down something totally unworkable or a criticism of the whole project, and I have to shut it down in front of everyone? I'll look like I was just faking the whole "I want your input" thing. My credibility will be shot. Or what if the opposite happens? What if the ideas are all just minor variations of my own? Then I've just wasted 5 minutes of valuable meeting time and burned political capital with David to prove that I'm the only one thinking strategically anyway. It feels like there are more ways for this to fail than succeed. What's the protocol for managing the fallout? How do I handle the ideas? Do I have to address every one?
Those are all excellent second and third order questions about facilitation, process management, and idea integration. They are completely valid, but they are not the goal of this specific experiment. We are intentionally designing a safe-to-fail test where the definition of success is radically simplified. The only data point we are trying to collect in this first iteration is, can we create a 5-minute container where silent, parallel thought is possible? That's it. Success isn't a brilliant breakthrough idea. Success isn't even a good idea. Success is simply completing the 5 minutes and having a set of notes that did not exist before. We are not testing the quality of the outcome. We are testing the viability of the process. We can build frameworks for all those other challenges later. First, we have to isolate the variable.
I understand isolating the variable, Alec. I do. But my brain doesn't work that way in the moment. I'll still be sitting there during the 5 minutes of silence, not being present, but just spinning. My mind will be racing, worrying about what to do next, pre-scripting my response to Leo's inevitable sideways comment. I'll be projecting 3 steps ahead into the disaster scenario. I can't just turn off the part of my brain that's managing the risk. The real danger is in minute 6.
Jordan, just pause. Take a breath with me. I hear that brilliant, hyper-vigilant protector working so hard to solve every future problem right now. It's trying to build a bridge to a river we haven't even reached yet. Let's give it a break. Let's leave all those problems in minute 6 and keep them there in the future just for a moment. I want you to come back to the present, right back here with us. As you were just running through all those what-ifs, all those future scenarios, I want you to become that detective again, a detective of your own body. That knot in your stomach you mentioned, can you locate it right now? Just check in. Without judgment, what are the physical sensations you're noticing in this exact moment?
Yeah, it's there. It's actually tighter now than when we first talked about it. It feels like a hard ball right under my ribs, clenched. And my breathing it's really shallow. I hadn't even noticed, but I was holding my breath as I was talking. My shoulders are up by my ears again.
Thank you. That is the entire point. That sensation, that tightness, the held breath, that isn't a stop sign. It's not a signal the experiment is a bad idea. It's your body's low battery alert going off. It's a clean, physical data point that tells you this specific kind of rapid-fire, future-focused contingency planning thinking is a massive energy drain. Your protector is trying to keep you safe by analyzing every possible threat, but it's doing so by draining your entire body budget. It's like running a high-intensity stress test on your phone that takes it from 80% battery to 10% in 5 minutes. So when that knot shows up as you prepare for the meeting, or even during the 5 minutes of silence, you have new information. You have a new way to interpret it. You don't have to get tangled up in the story the knot is telling you. You can simply notice it and say, there's my protector, working overtime again. It's burning a lot of fuel trying to predict the future. Your job isn't to think your way out of the knot. That's what's causing the knot. Your job is to notice the knot, take one conscious, deep breath, a tiny deposit back into your body budget, and then gently redirect your focus to the single, simple, low-energy task that Alec outlined, just running the 5-minute experiment. The knot is the signal you're in your head. The breath is the anchor back to the task at hand.
Okay, so the knot is a low battery alert. I understand the concept, Grace. I really do. But it's a very, very loud alert. It isn't some subtle notification. It's a blaring 5-alarm siren that hijacks my entire system. It's fundamentally distracting. How am I supposed to just observe it and carry on with Alec's experiment when every instinct is screaming that something is critically wrong? It feels less like a helpful data point and more like a fundamental system error, a bug in my own code that needs a patch before I can deploy anything new. I can't just smell smoke, see the alarm flashing, and calmly go about my business. The alert itself feels like the emergency.
Jordan, I want you to forget the experiment for 1 second. Just set it completely aside. Forget David and his performance reviews. Forget the sticky notes and the 5 minutes and what comes in minute 6. Set it all down. What is it like to have to be the smartest person in the room all the time?
It's exhausting. It's just so lonely. It's the loneliest feeling in the world, actually. I spend every ounce of my energy, every single day, projecting this vision of absolute certainty and forward momentum, building this narrative that I have the map and all everyone needs to do is follow me. And the whole time, every meeting, every one-on-one, I am just terrified. Absolutely terrified that I'm wrong, that I've missed something obvious, that I'm leading us all full speed towards a cliff. What if I run this stupid 5-minute experiment and Leo's idea is actually better than mine? What if he says something simple and brilliant and the whole team turns and looks at him, and in that 1 second, they all realize it, and I realize it, in front of everyone? Then what am I? I'm just the fraud who couldn't see the obvious answer, the emperor with no clothes.
Then the system worked. Jordan, that outcome you just described, the one that feels like your deepest, most terrifying fear, that is the victory condition. That's the sign of a healthy, high-performing system. The immense pressure you feel to be the sole visionary, the single source of every good idea, that's a design flaw in the role as you've been forced to live it, not a character flaw in you. It's an unsustainable and inefficient operating model. The goal of a great leader isn't to have the best idea in the room. It's to build a system that finds the best idea in the room, no matter who it comes from. If Leo has a better idea, and your new process lets him voice it and the team recognize it, You haven't failed as a leader. You have succeeded in the most important way imaginable. You've built a team that is smarter and more resilient than any single individual, including yourself. That, right there, is the entire job.
That's it. That is the entire connection, Jordan. That knot under your ribs, that hard ball that you feel, the clenched muscle that's been holding your breath. It's not just the abstract energy cost of predicting the future. It's the literal, physical weight of having to be the visionary, all alone, every single day. It's the weight of that armor of certainty you just described so powerfully. The relief you are so desperately searching for, the thing that will finally unclench that knot, it isn't in finally getting your team to agree with your perfect vision. The real, lasting relief, the deep recharge for your body's battery, is in discovering that you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. It's in finally letting them share that weight. It's the relief of letting Leo's idea be the best one. Thank you for letting us see that, Jordan. Thank you for trusting us with that honesty. That was the most important moment we've had today, and I want us to honor it. So let's just stay here for a breath. Just for this moment. There's nothing to solve right now. You don't have to analyze this. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to have a takeaway. The only job for the next minute is to let your system settle after that huge wave of emotion. We are giving you explicit permission to stop performing, stop managing, and just be present with what is. And to help with that, I want to guide you back into the physical space of your room, away from the whirlwind of thoughts about the future and the past. Can you do that with me? Just follow my voice. Let's start with your feet. Can you feel them flat on the floor? Can you really feel them? Wiggle your toes. Notice the texture of your socks, the carpet, or the cool of the wood under your soles. Just press down into the floor. Feel how solid and unmoving it is. It's holding you up completely. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. Good. Now, keeping your feet there, just let your eyes drift around your room and silently, to yourself, name 3 things that you can see that are the color blue. A book spine, a pen, a shadow in the corner. Just find 3 blue things. Take your time. Okay, now let's try another sense. Just listen. What is the quietest sound you can hear? The hum of your computer, a clock, something outside your window. Just pick one quiet sound and notice it without judgment. Okay, now if you're comfortable, I want you to take one hand, your right or your left, and place it on your chest. Right over that spot where you felt that tightness, that knot. You don't have to press, just let the weight of your hand rest there. Feel the warmth spreading from your palm. We're just going to take a few slow breaths together. I'm going to count. We'll breathe in gently through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then a long, slow sigh out of your mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just letting the sound out. Let's do that again. A gentle breath in, filling your belly, 4, 3, 2, 1, and letting it all go, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. In, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that's a little better. The knot feels looser.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's it. That small shift is everything. What you just did was essential work, Jordan. You didn't run from the low battery warning. You didn't try to shut off the alarm because it was too loud. You did something much harder. You let it guide you. And it took you directly to the source of the massive power drain. That feeling you named so bravely, that profound loneliness, that crushing weight of having to be the sole visionary, it isn't a weakness to be hidden away. It is not a bug in your system, as you said before. It is the most beautiful feature imaginable. It is a compass. It's your body's way of giving you the most accurate, reliable, real-time navigational data you could ever ask for. That feeling is pointing, with perfect clarity, directly at the part of your role that is unsustainable, the part that is costing you too much. That feeling of loneliness isn't a stop sign telling you you're failing, it's a direction sign pointing toward connection. It's the clearest piece of data we have gotten all day, and because you found it, because you had the courage to name it, now we can use it. It's no longer just a source of pain or a symptom of failure. It's the beginning of a map that leads you out of isolation and back to your team. Jordan, before we close, I just want us to pause and look at the extraordinary journey you took in this single hour. You came in feeling the immense, bone-deep exhaustion of pushing a cart uphill, running a story that said you were the only one with a vision, a story that was draining nearly your entire body budget just to maintain. Your internal GPS, using old traffic data, was blaring a constant danger signal, warning you away from any potential conflict. But you did something incredibly brave. You let us challenge that story. You met your own brilliant analytical protector, and then you chose to go deeper. You followed the physical data, that knot in your stomach, and you let it guide you past all the defenses, right to the heart of it all. The lonely, crushing, and unsustainable weight of having to be the sole visionary all the time.
And that feeling of isolation, Jordan, that's not a personal failing. It is an empirical data point. It is proof that your current decision-making system is poorly designed. A system that relies on one person to have all the best ideas is, by definition, a brittle system. It creates a single point of failure, you. It's inefficient and it maximizes risk. Therefore, this 5-minute experiment is no longer just a nice-to-have team-building exercise. It's your first practical step in re-engineering that system. It's a diagnostic tool. You are deploying it to de-risk the ideation process and distribute the cognitive and emotional load of strategic thinking across the entire unit. The goal isn't just to make you feel less alone. The goal is to build a more resilient, higher output system that finds the best idea, no matter whose mind it comes from.
Exactly. It's about systemic health, not just personal feeling. So, given all of that, from where you started to this new understanding, what's the one thought you want to hold on to as the anchor for yourself heading into this next week?
That the knot in my stomach, that loud alert, it isn't a warning that I'm failing or that I'm a fraud. It's just a signal from my body budget saying the current system is asking me to carry too much weight alone. It's a compass. And the 5-minute experiment, its purpose isn't to prove my idea is best or to expose it as weak. The purpose is just to put some of that weight down. It's simply an invitation for someone else on the team to help me carry it. It's a practical step toward not being so alone at the front of the room.
That's it. That is the new story, and it's a much more generous and sustainable one. You've done some truly incredible work today, Jordan. You should be proud. And with that, we are at time.
Wait, I have to tell you. The project, the one we're talking about with the experiment, the one I'm so afraid Leo will have a better idea for, it's not just any project. It's the centerpiece of my mid-year performance review. My boss, David, he told me my promotion is directly tied to its success. He specifically said it was my chance to prove myself as a true leader. So if Leo's idea is better and mine looks weak in front of everyone, or if this whole experiment makes us look slow and the project fails, it's not just embarrassing. I feel like I could be out. The stakes are they're so much higher than I let on.
Jordan, breathe. Thank you. Thank you for trusting us with that last piece. That is an incredibly important piece of the puzzle, and it explains so much about the intensity of the pressure you're feeling. It gives context to the sheer volume of that danger signal from your internal GPS. I am making a note of it right now. It is vital information because it connects the internal psychological risk to a very real external professional risk. We will not lose it. It will be the very first thing we start with in our next session. Hold on to that. We will pick it up right there. We'll see you then.